Hello. Yeah, welcome once again. It's Abel here. So the last time we spoke on the types of foundations that we have, and if you could remember, we said we have two main types generally, but under the artificial foundation, we have the shallow and the deep foundation. So today we'll be looking at the factors which will necessitate for us to choose either the shallow or the deep foundation. So in considering these factors, we'll be looking um, the factors based on the soil condition. Then we'll be looking at the factors also based on the load from the building. So on the first factor, which is based on the soil condition, so we want to be looking at the ability of the soil, um, which is close to the surface of the earth, to carry the load. So if the soil is firm, the soil which is close to the surface of the earth is firm, then we'll be using shallow foundation. So based on the load from the building, if our load that will be coming from the building will not be too much, then we use the shallow foundation. So the shallow foundation is normally used when we have low heights building. So using the shallow foundation, we normally have restriction for the heights that you can go. So the deep foundation comes in when the soil, which is close to the surface of the earth, is not strong. Let me put it that way. The soil is very weak to carry loads. So you would have to dig deep to see a hard or a firm strata that will be able to carry the necessary load from the building. All right, if we get that, then let's move on to the general factors. So for the general factors, we can mention so many of them. So the first one, as I said initially, is the soil type or the soil condition. So the soil type or the soil condition, here we'll be looking at the various type of soil. You know, there are different type of soil, so we would want to um, carry out a soil test to be able to determine the kind of soil which is on our site, and that type of soil is going to necessitate on the actual type of foundations that we are supposed to use, either the shallow or the deep foundation. If the soil is firm enough to carry our load, then we'll use the shallow. But if the soil is not firm enough, and if the soil is not capable of carrying the load from the building, then we use the deep foundation. In order for us to get a firm strata, we have to dig deep to get that. Then we have climate and weather condition. So climate and weather condition, I don't know, but I mentioned this in the other video that for our climates and weather condition, they normally affect our building. So depending on the climates or depending on the conditions that surrounds our building, we design our foundation to suit that. For example, if we have if our land is in an area that there is normally earthquake, so we want to design our building in the case that when there's a seismic activity, our foundation will be able to withstand them. So we consider the climate and the weather conditioning the choice of our foundation. Then you'll be looking at the load from the superstructure. So basically, the first thing to look at is the load from the superstructure, because your foundation should be able to carry all these loads. Because if your foundation is not able to carry the load from the superstructure, as I said the other time, your building is going to fail. So you will want to design your building in the sense that the foundation is able to carry the loads that is going to be imposed from the superstructure. And how do you do this? First of all, the designer has to calculate the loads that will be coming from the superstructure. So it is necessary for loads calculation before you design the foundation. You don't just get up and say, oh, today I feel like using a strip foundation, so I'll just use a strip foundation. No, you have to calculate the load from the superstructure and see whether that load will be able to meet the strip foundation, or the strip foundation will be able to carry the loads will be coming from the superstructure. Then we also look about are durability. So durability just talks about for it to be able to last, carrying the necessary load. The foundation should be able to serve the required lifespan of the building. We don't want to construct a foundation that is going to fail before the required lifespan of the building is met. So, so we want to design to meet durability. Then we also have budgets. So the budget too is very important, but it's not part of the most important or the, like I say, the critical factors. So budget is important because any foundation you choose has its budget. So the various type of foundation has their varying budgets that they incur. So when choosing a foundation type, you would want to consider the amounts that you're having, and you don't just use budget as the number one criteria, because as I said, the most important factor is the bearing capacity of the soil. If the bearing capacity of the soil is not able to carry the loads that is coming from the superstructure, then you have to go for a foundation that is going to serve to that purpose. So we don't look at the budgets and over the bearing capacity. So we want to look at the bearing capacity before we look at the budget. All right. So there are other factors also that influence our choice when choosing foundation. Some of the other factors are the water table level. Then we'll talk about the importance of the building. Then you also want to look on the life of the structure. Then you also want to look on the types of the construction materials that will be used. So these are factors that when choosing foundation we want to look at. They are very important because if you don't consider them and you just go for any foundation, you might be lucky to use your building for some time, but in no time your building will fail. And it is never advisable to go for a foundation without doing the necessary tests, without doing the necessary load calculation. So it is very important as building owners, and it is very important as clients also, to do our necessary calculations and necessary test investigations before we come out with a design for a foundation. So I've said a lot and I've mentioned so many factors. So when going out to, or when you want to construct the building, just make sure that the contractor or the person which is in charge of the building does most of what I've mentioned so far, and you'll be good to go. So this is what I have for you today. I want to use this opportunity to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance. Please, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe, hit the like button, and share. And please do share and comment. And if you feel like I haven't touched on other areas that you want me to touch on, feel free to comment in the comment section. If there's nothing else, then see you in the next one. Bye.